Welcome, Adam, to Metal Agent Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you again because we spoke 2 years ago about for the last album. Now we spoke about the band again for this new P Amartia again. So, and more things related to the metal world. No, we begin by asking you how was the band during the last years since your last album, and now are presenting a new EP.
Yeah, strange times, right?
Yeah.
Recently it's been yeah, we've been doing what we can, I suppose, during this pandemic, which is what eventually led us to do this EP. Of course, for a while we couldn't do anything, and we released the latest album, right in the beginning of everything. So when we were about to go out on like a touring cycle, everything hit the world, and yeah, it's just been strange, but it's slowly starting to start again, even for us. We had this spring and summer for festivals again with our newest guitar player Joseph, and introducing him to at least some people during the summer. Then we went to the US, we went to Brazil and to Mexico. And then we had a tour with Botane and Bulzer and Abbat in Europe. And yeah, here we are. And in the meantime, we also, as you said, recorded this new EP.
Great. Well, 3 years since Jonathan left the band, and now you are with Joseph, as you told me. So how are the things working out with Joseph, with the band? Was the composition process of this EP in charge of the two of the guitar, talking about the guitar level, or was it composed entirely by you? Because in the past you made a Tribulation albums completely.
Yeah, well, Joseph did one song. He wrote the latest single, Axis Mundi, and I did the other two, Amartia and Hemoclys. But it's been really great. We and I have worked with Joseph a lot in the past, since we're childhood friends, and we've been playing music together since we were children, basically. So, and that's one of the reasons we brought him in, and also because we could tell there was some strain, some vibe in his other music that we thought could fit Tribulation, and so far so good, I would say. So it's been a pleasure, to be honest, to be working with him. And as is the case, or as is hopefully the case, when something changes and something new happens, it can spark your creativity, and it definitely did this time, and still does. So all in all, it's been great.
Great to know that he wrote one song from this new EP. So I've been listening to this new EP, Amartia, a few times, and I see that the band maintains the sound with the music of Tribulation. So tell me, how do you see Tribulation? How do you see Tribulation after more than 20 years relating to this EP? Do you think it's possible to take the band's sounds to other levels, meanwhile you are still being yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the difficult thin line we have to tread, because there's Tribulation has always been a band where we can put a lot of ourselves into, but I did an interview now before this, and said this, that we didn't start the band, and or when we started the band, we didn't say we are going to play this particular kind of music only. I mean, it's not like it's not like a project where you go, let's start a grindcore band and play grindcore. It wasn't like that, and it isn't like that. But so there's a lot of space to move in Tribulation, even though it's also limited at the same time. We can't do anything, because then it wouldn't be Tribulation. And what's become Tribulation is kind of, which is both a good and a bad thing, mostly a good thing, I think. It's, it consists of those borders, those limits that we can possibly go outside a little, but we can't stray too far, because then it wouldn't be Tribulation anymore. But there is still a lot of room for that to move. And as you said, can we still evolve or change while still being true to ourselves? That we can, I think. And this EP was, it was some kind of step, but I would say it's fairly in line with what we've been doing recently. It's not that far from the material on Where the Gloom Becomes Sound, even though there's some tastes that is different, I think. But looking at like a new album, I would say there's definitely room for new directions. Yeah.
Okay. So another curious detail that I was seeing is the name of the EP, Amartia, because there are many productions with the same names. So what are the reasons for you to have selected this name? Do you follow the Aristotelian concept, of the like mean error or defect in this aspect, or perhaps it's maybe something much personal for you?
Well, it started with me just liking the word as the word, and I found it fascinating. I found it beautiful, and I also found it fascinating, as with any word really that we use, or that has been used in the past. It's got history, it's changed, the concepts around it have always changed. It could be Aristotelian, as you said, and it's really about the word itself. So I didn't choose one aspect of the word and say this is what we're going for, but it's more about how it's been used, well, in both Jewish and Christian theology and literature. I mean, it is the word in the New Testament, and in the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible, it's the word for sin. So it's me musing on the concept of sin, how what it meant when Genesis was composed, and how it changed in the, what is it, like 15-ish 100 years until people wrote the books of the New Testament, and how the early Christians in like the 1st and 2nd centuries saw the word, and even later how the concept constantly changed, and how people make their own thing out of everything, really. So it's about the word and its various connotations and meanings, really.
So in times where many styles are going back in time, and now we have this idea of making things shorter, as you can see. That's why singles are having a new punch at the promotional level, because as you remember, the 40s and 50s, that is the way that they spread the music at that time. So where does this EP fit in? Because with short productions and releasing 2 or 3 singles to promote this short production, we already taken about almost all content of this new EP. So how can you choose singles in a short production?
Right. Well, that's us finding ourselves in a new landscape, and I suppose trying something else out. I mean, when the EP is fully out, it's gonna be online for anyone to stream at any time. So some people are going to listen to it that way, and other people are going to buy the 12-inch. So it's. I mean, you can't rely only on the physical release. So it's an in-between albums, because we still think in albums. We're not going to be releasing a single every now and then, as I'm sure a lot of other bands do and will do in the future. We're still thinking album oriented. So this is an in-between kind of thing that we wanted to do. We wanted to write something with Joseph, just to see how it felt and how it was going to work out. So that's why we did it this way. And yeah, like I said, it's and as you said, it's of course a promotional thing as well, releasing the songs in a row like this as we're doing. But eventually all the songs are going to be able to be streamed by anyone at any time, anywhere.
Yes.
So yeah.
No, now that you have this new EP with 3 songs and 1 cover, so can you talk about the prelude to the can we say that this new album is a prelude for a new Tribulation album, perhaps this year or next? Because usually these songs are composed thinking about releasing a new album, because it's a bunch of new songs to create new music. So perhaps you have prepared a new album this year or next year, and perhaps do you have the name now?
No name, no. But we are in the earliest stages of making a new album. Yes. Whether the EP can point you in any direction of how it's going to sound, I don't know. Probably some, because it's just a way of, at least the way I write. So there's going to be similarities, I'm sure. It can point you to in some direction as how it will sound. But again, like I said earlier, I think there's room for other things with a new album as well that we haven't tried out. What that is, we're just gonna have to see. But it's more that we just wanted to do something. We weren't thinking let's see which way we're going with this and continue down that road with the album. We might do that, but it could be anything, I suppose. I don't really never think in that way. So
right.
What happens.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So now that Tribulation has become a mainstream metal band, did you ever imagine when you started in Tribulation that you would win a Swedish Grammy? What is the feeling of receiving such recognition?
All right. No, probably not. But I did absolutely think that we would reach somewhere. Maybe naively at first, but it's been, it hasn't been a quick journey. We've been doing this for a long time, and we could have been much bigger as well. But so that we did think from the very beginning. There was no other alternative. Otherwise, we wouldn't have put our whole lives on hold for 20 years to do this. But the Grammy, no, I never thought about Grammys, to be honest. But yeah, we've won 2 of them now, so it's something at least. There's some kind of recognition in that, of course. I mean, looking back at all the Swedish artists that have won Grammys in the past, and not a whole lot of them have won a single one, and even fewer have won 2. So that's, of course, something to grab onto and feel something at least proud of, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
It's so strange,
Yeah.
Just,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
well, You are well. So into this topic, was Jonathan present when receiving this recognition, or did have any words after this recognition for the band? No?
He was not there. No.
Oh, perhaps you will receive some words about these rewards. No?
Sorry, what was that?
Perhaps him told you some rewards about him some words about your recognition from these Grammys.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was. I'm sure he was happy about it. He wrote a lot of the material, so. But he wasn't there. No, he didn't want to. He wasn't even present the first time we won because he didn't want to go. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So all thought, it is true that the main influence in US heavy metal, you told me in the past interview, you love heavy metal, a lot of other kind of style. So you're a fan of Iron Maiden. I know that also you listen to Dissection, etc., etc. So, but in the last albums, we can see a gothic influence into there. Because a lot of reviewers said so, gothic metal, etc., etc. So, have you also been listening to bands like Fields of the Nephilim, the Sisters of Mercy, or Christian Death, to further develop the Tribulation sound?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Fields of the Nephilim, we've been listening to them for a very long time, and Sisters as well. I'm not a huge Sister fan, but the hits are just great songs. It's a bit too, Schlager-ish for me sometimes, a bit too happy, I suppose. But the field stuff are great. Christian Death is a great band. Susie and the Banshees are fantastic. A lot of dark wave music is great, and yeah, I listen to a lot of it, and other similar kinds of bands as well. Coil and Current 93 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's bound to make a mark in my music as well. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So speaking of, as I said in the first question, talking about others aspect relating to this, the gothic world, metal world, speaking of the fields of the gothic rock, and now with the influence of the gothic metal, with the music that Tribulation has in the middle, as you said, like Fields of Nephilim. So what do you think of those American media thoughts at the end of the 90s that called gothic metal to everything that had a female voice, like Nightwish, Epica, Within Temptation, etc., etc.? Because this concept, what's your opinion about this aspect? Because this concept for a lot of media, Spanish, English, is a common tag or a common label until now. Not for us, because we think the gothic metal is influenced by the Fields, the Sisters, etc. But all media think that these bands like female voice are gothic metal.
Right. Well, that's a good point. I've never listened to a gothic metal band.
Okay.
So you're right. I mean, I've listened to Tiamat. I suppose they are a gothic metal band. So Tiamat, yes. But I never listened to even the Paradise Lost or even those early bands. And I suppose they were probably influenced by the same bands we are influenced by now. So the term, as you say, the term gothic metal is problematic, I would say.
Yes, it's a little problematic. Yeah, because but in the 90s, a lot of media confused that aspect. I don't know why, but it's the concept. Now Tribulation represent a good word to say gothic metal. A lot of influence into there, but
possibly,
post gothic metal. But perhaps do you have the opportunity to hear something? Because you said Tiamat, you said the one after the Wall Honey was released, follow albums are more gothic. But then Paradise Lost with the one second album, and perhaps do you hear something? The first albums from the second album from Moonspell, because Irreligious, I think we think in Metallica are the first stone into the gothic metal.
I haven't listened to them. I haven't listened to any of those bands.
Okay.
So I don't really have an opinion, but I did in some ways. I suppose I do, because I've probably heard a lot of. I mean, I've probably heard songs from a lot of those 90s gothic metal bands, but since I never, wanted to check it out more, I just never did. And yeah, it's it's an unknown area for me. I don't know anything about it really.
Okay, no, don't worry. No, now talking about as we saw you now are at ESG guitar. So because you have an accustomed guitar in the past. So what is the motive to change this aspect in your year in guitar matters?
What did you say?
Well, you in the past now you are using a ESG guitar for the now you in the past you use a custom.
Yeah. It's just because I'm a skinny ass person and I got tired of having a heavy Les Paul.
Okay.
That's basically it. I wanted a lighter guitar because we did so much touring, and I always have I mean, you can do things with your strap. You can change the height of it like every day, and it will help you with not getting all crooked,
Okay.
but my strap and the strap I like, you can't do that. I mean, you can, but it's too. Every time you change it too far. So it's very static. So it was just a thing. I had to do something because I got like nerve twitches in my arm eventually because of the Les Paul. So I just changed it to a lighter guitar, and that's it. It happened to be an SG. I like the look of it, and it plays great. So yeah, and it also has 24 frets instead of 22, and I like that as well.
Great.
Gives you more room.
Great. So we are very close to this interview, Adam, and for that, what are the future plans that the band has for this new EP? Perhaps Europe. You told me that you will have a European tour. Perhaps you have more things, more videos coming, North American tour, or who knows, a proper Latin American tour, because you just came here just in Brazil, Chile, and last year Mexico and the Candelabrum Fest. So perhaps you have a full tour here in Latin America.
If anything happens, it would be something like that this year at least. We're gonna record an album later this year, but we're not going to be doing any touring. We are going to play festivals this summer. But if anything happens, it would be something like a South American tour. It wouldn't be like a 4-week tour, but it would be more than just a couple of shows at least. So that's not impossible to be honest, but I can't promise you anything.
Okay. So, well, Adam, the sad times arrive at this interview. I hope you enjoyed it like me doing that.
Absolutely.
You see, what's a pleasure to talk with you again for the second time. So perhaps we want to add something to your Latin American fans that expect a full tour, as I said, this year, next year, who knows, and Metalerum followers.
Yeah, again, like I said, hopefully we're coming sooner than later. If we're not coming sooner, we are coming back later. That's a promise if someone doesn't die or something.